How do you think it's going to be when there's a player on the team that's making more money than the coach? Now, this is more of a selfish question for me. I'm just going to be honest. They're going to think, well, I make more money than you, so why do I have to listen to you? I have an amazing guest, my guy. Not only how young he is, but the passion that goes along with it in building his empire of Tykoon Enterprises, Tykoon Sports, Tykoon Agency, and even the Tykoon Sports Music Group. Where did you go to get some of those NIL certifications?
Did
you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? Was it a mix? How did that go?
Yeah, it was definitely a mix.
Where do you see yourself in the next year, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, so the next goal short-term wise is to really...
What kind of deals are you mainly geared towards getting for your college athletes?
Yeah, man. So, as a startup company, we have to have some proof of concept, so we can't be too picky.
As a business owner, how are you able to take care of yourself and your team?
That's exactly why, we're planning to expand into that education piece.
If there's a college athlete looking right now, and there's one thing that they're able to take away from this entire conversation, this entire podcast, what would it be?
I would say focus on that brand. And the reason why is because...
What's going on? You're here for another edition of the Athlete's Wisdom Podcast. Here where we teach college athletes not only how to master branding and marketing, but how to build a business using NIL Spotlight to essentially help grow your platform. Today, I have an amazing guest, my guy, Peter Iwuh. Now, before I introduce him, I always stress the importance of building relationships and, networking, right? And how I met Peter was essentially I met him at the Black Sports Business Symposium. And then from there, we just kicked off immediately. This guy, he has so many titles. It's ridiculous. He has so many different businesses. But one of the things that really stood out to me was not only how young he is, but the passion that goes along with it in building his empire of Tykoon Enterprises, Tykoon Sports, Tykoon Agency, and even the Tykoon Sports Music Group. So what's going on, Peter? How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate the introduction, man. I'm excited to be here in the midst of the greats, man.
Hey, man, look, we just two goats on the way up, honestly. So before we really get into everything, I do want, for the audience who isn't familiar with you, I do just kind of want you to give a quick synopsis of kind of like your background story, how you were able to kind of start and then get to where you are today.
Yeah, when I was at Morgan State, I definitely came across a lot of student athletes who, came to me with ideas. Some were good, some are bad. I'm a pretty personable guy, so you can come to me about just about anything. I'll have something for you. And one thing that was pretty common in certain conversations I was having was that like student athletes at schools were considering, illegal means of making money, whether that was like doing things that they shouldn't be doing anyway. Some of them are getting caught for, some are not. It kind of sparked my curiosity on how I could provide value to the student athlete. So I just thought, and this is sometime around last year before I graduated from Morgan, I just thought, like, how about I just contribute, my marketing skill sets and my business acumen to the student athletes. And this is when NIL was still pretty new. So just because I saw the vision, I didn't want to just hop into NIL. So I had the vision, just shit on it. I'm trying to graduate, move to LA, all of this stuff. So I just let it like marinate for a little bit. While that was going on, I was just doing some market research, understanding exactly, what NIL companies are starting, what's already in the market, which ones are starting, failing, just to get a good analysis of, what was out there. And then drawing closer to like December, January, I just noticed, it was a lot of great companies, a lot of great resources, out there for students and athletic departments for, NIL maximization, but they weren't people who looked like me or you. So once I noticed that, it was like, you know what, like I need to start this because it's a lot of NIL stuff. Don't get it twisted, but like it wasn't led by anybody, not only who looked like me and you, but who could relate to the student athletes more. As a young guy, who's graduated from college, I know what it's like when life stuff happens. I know what it's like, when they have like homework to do and they have to, chill on some of the stuff that we talked about, and really we could just kick it. Like me and the athletes, like we just hop on FaceTime and get business done. It doesn't have to be a suit and tie ordeal every single time. We could just have a mutual cordial conversation and still get the business done. So they know that if it comes to business, we'll get it done. But we can have fun doing it. We can relax doing it. Be cool doing it, and it it leads to more openness to them. Trying out new stuff, trying out new things that we share with them. So it's definitely been working.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you are the first Black-owned NIL marketing agency.
Yeah, man. The viewers can Google it. The viewers can Google Black NIL agency and see what comes up, and then notify us if we're wrong. But when you Google Black NIL agency, the person speaking should come up. So.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I know we've spoken a lot, and I know a decent amount of your journey. But one thing I did learn was that you did talent acquisition for Disney. So how did that originally come about, and how was that experience for you, and how did that also help you in your business?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm one who, funny enough, like one thing I really like with internships, and one thing that, I definitely want to let sit and resonate with the viewers is that, like, even though if you're a boss or a CEO, depending on your stage, sometimes it's still good to kind of observe how it works in the already well-oiled machine. So, like, for me, like, as I went into internships, I was like, all right, cool. I'm going into this internship, of course, to gain, like, the level, the experience for what I'm going to school for and all that stuff. But I want to see how the managers run that. I want to see how the directors run it, how the organizational chart is set up, how the meetings are ran, like who's making the agenda, who's executing, like what are the interns doing, what are they using me to do, what part do I fill in this entire chart, just so when I, run my company, I can, not mimic the same thing, but take inspiration and apply, what's applicable, right?
And I feel like one of the key things that you said but didn't say directly in there was essentially you were able to learn a lot of the systems that these businesses have, right? We always look at how amazing these companies are doing and the things that they do in light, but we don't see a lot of the things that they do behind the scenes and behind closed doors and in the shadows, right? Every successful business, no matter the industry that you all see in the world, they have impeccable systems behind it that help it go, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You're a NIL sports agent, correct?
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah. There is no, like, they haven't made it like official, but like if there was any role that was titled like an NIL sports agent, like I essentially would definitely fall under that category.
And where were you able to get a lot of these certifications at and things of that nature?
Yeah, I got mine from Front Office Sports. They have a collaboration with Meta right now, where there is actually a free, NIL marketing certification program. Pretty quick and accelerated in my personal opinion, and it really just touches on, like, the reasons why NIL is valuable. Where athletes can attain value from and really maximize their NIL. So on and so forth.
So, how many athletes are you currently working with, and how many athletes have you worked with total since this NIL journey has started?
Yeah, so we started in January, and right now we currently have 20 athletes. I would say we have probably like triple that trying to work with us right now. But I'm really on a quality versus quantity kind of mindset. So, like, I don't want to have 50 or 100 athletes and nothing is going on with them. So I'd rather just take a small number that me and my team can really handle and maximize, and then kind of just go from there.
So how were you able to acquire some of the talent that you have? Did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? Was it a mix? How did that go?
Yeah, it was definitely a mix of both. Obviously, like, a lot of it was just like direct outreach, like me connecting with the athletes, sharing them the vision, like kind of understand where their pain points are and what their past experiences have been like, to make sure we're not replicating that. If they're negative, and really just seeing how we could provide value and, kind of just get things going with the student athletes.
I like that. I like that. So when you partner with these athletes, what are some of the NIL deals that you work towards getting for the college athletes?
Yeah, so all of our 20 athletes, like when we onboard them, everybody kind of goes through a relatively similar process. So we're not looking, for athletes who just think they're going to come to our agency and just become like the king of NIL, you know what I'm saying, and have all the deals in the world. So, we're really big on brand building, making sure that we're implementing content strategies, making sure each and every athlete is showing some sort of sign of growth before we move into the next phase of really focusing on brand partnerships, the actual rigid, personal brand partnership building stage, or alignment stage, or whatever you may call it.
So kind of go through the process of how you were able to kind of partner with a lot of these companies.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just really having good intention. And I think one thing that did also come with a lot of experience working with a lot of these corporations is kind of understanding like the brand's point of views. So, in a course of my experiences, I actually worked at a PR agency that was responsible for, influencer marketing for travel destinations. And so in that role, I was vetting influencers, communicating with their agencies on behalf of the agency, and really aligning partnerships with, the correct influencers. So from that experience, I kind of have a bit more of a better understanding of what brands are looking for, even though I'm on the athlete side. So I'm able to kind of come in and speak to the brand in their language, and then, come with the athlete's best interest and kind of meet that middle ground there, which I think plays a pretty huge role in the partnerships, and also just us having a diverse pool of athletes. So like I said, we're not, an agency that just caters to like football or caters to basketball. And on the fundraiser side of things is something that we're still currently, building up. I'm actually going to a pitch competition tomorrow.
Run me through what a pitch competition is, because I'm not familiar with what that is.
Yeah, so there's different types of pitch competitions, and that's one of the ways we establish our relationship with the NBA Foundation. Again, that was for like Tykoon Agency, which is one of the sister companies to Tykoon Sports. But essentially what a pitch competition is, you pull up and pitch. So you literally, sometimes they'll give you 60 seconds, sometimes they'll give you 3 minutes. And within that time frame, you'll be talking about your business, the problem you all are solving, the solution, and then you're essentially, asking for funding for your business.
I love to hear it. I want to ask you, what exactly, you don't have to go through, obviously, each and every point, but what are some of just the main points in your curriculum that you like to focus on educating the college athletes?
The curriculum is pretty comprehensive, and it's set to be spanned across 3 months. And essentially just some of the things in there are like the key importance of personal brand and how it relates to personal to brand partnerships, as well as like leveraging social media for brand partnerships, touch a bit on negotiation. A lot of student athletes won't be going pro. That's just the reality of it. So we want to make sure that students know, if they're making money, where to put it, and if they're looking to, generate some income, exactly how to go about those options. So that's just like a small insight on the curriculum, but it's definitely robust, as mentioned, like 3-month program.
How does the content planning and content creation stage go when you're dealing with athletes, right? Because not everybody's content is going to be the same. So how do you gear it towards the athlete and their personality?
Yeah, so we do our best, I stated earlier, to make sure we understand exactly, where the athlete is trying to take their brand narrative, and like based off of, like the call that we have with them, when we kind of gauge what and where they want to take their brand to, we kind of construct a content plan and share some inspiration with them to kind of get an idea of what that looks like. And we work with our athletes on content production. So on the editing aspect, we kind of handle that to kind of avoid, the video not doing what it's supposed to do. So yeah, we're very hands-on in that aspect of things with the student athletes.
Let's just say there's an athlete who isn't comfortable and doesn't really make a lot of content, right? They don't have too much of a brand presence, but that their personality and who they are is good for the company. So how do you let somebody like that know that it's a long-term play? How do you keep the morale up, and how do you make sure they understand it's a marathon and not a sprint?
The first thing is understanding what those challenges are. So like you said, if you're an athlete who has the potential to be doing well on social and that's not happening, like why is that? Most times, the reason why athletes are not, in a successful position on social is because there's no one to give them strategy. There's no one to give them inspiration on that strategy. There's no one to hold them accountable for it. There's no one to assist them with producing the videos. Like those 4 things are things that we do. So those are 4 challenges already knocked off the wall. So from there, we start examining what are the other reasons that this is not happening, and then come and fill in those gaps, as a marketing partner to make sure the athlete is set up for success there. And then for the second half of the question, first of all, that first part plays a huge role in everything else, right? So if we're able to tell the athlete, like, hey, we'll give you the strategy, we'll give you the inspiration, and we'll edit the videos, like there's little to no reason why an athlete would deny such offer. The second thing is me just being, being relatable, like just how I articulated to you earlier, like, look, if I take where you're at right now and give it to brands, that's a waste of our time. And I tell athletes that straight up. I'm a very blunt dude. A lot of the athletes know that I'm not here to like sugarcoat stuff or hide stuff. The reality is, like, if I take where you're at right now and give it to the brand, we're not going to get the best buck. We're going to be getting $50 deals and $100 deals, a lot of this little stuff. And if you want the bigger fish, then you need to put in this work. And good things don't come easy. And we make sure, again, like these athletes know that. Out of the 20 athletes, like we have 4 talent managers that work with 5 each individually. So we're all responsible for checking in with our athlete, following up with our athletes, making sure that they're on point with everything I stated earlier in terms of making sure they're set for success. So, systems that's implemented like that to make sure that people are responsible for doing those things is what is really helping us on our side.
Okay. And as a business owner, how are you able to take care of yourself and your team?
I would say focus on that brand. And the reason why is because if you're a student athlete, if there is anything that you have as a student athlete that you're going to have for the rest of your life, is going to be your brand. Your skills are eventually one day when you get older going to wear away. You're not going to wear the same college jersey after college. Your number probably might change. Your last name might change. I mean, your brand shoe might just change, but your brand is the only thing you're still going to have with you, until the last day. So
Gotcha. So I want to open the floor to, have you just give any extra piece of advice that I haven't asked you, right? If there's a college athlete looking right now and there's one thing that they're able to take away from this entire conversation, this entire podcast, what would it be?
Yeah, so actionable step today to build your personal brand is doing some competitive analysis. So like if you're an athlete, a student athlete, and you want to be like just hypothetically Tom Brady, let me use this guy Jimmy Butler just because that's a bit more of a son. Some of the athletes' brands are very strong. Or if you want to be LeBron James, or if you want to be Tom Brady, or even if you want to be smaller players like Antoine Brooks or whatever the case may be, like go to their profiles, study their profiles, see what's working for them. Don't copy exactly what you watch, but just derive inspiration, take notes, kind of align it to what your vision is, and then just roll out your play from there. So instead of you sitting there and thinking about like why it can't be done, just get up and go and do it. And then you kind of surprise yourself with the type of stuff you'll get done.
Mm-hmm. What's an actionable step that they can do today to help build their personal brand?
I think a few. I think most of our athletes are D1. And it's funny because I'm just now learning about the division stuff because I'm not a sports guy. Like I wasn't an athlete and none of that. I just kind of saw the opportunity. I played football in high school. It doesn't really count, but like,
it counts, bro. It counts. I played football in high school. It counts, bro.
Exactly. Yeah. Most of the athletes are D1 though.
So how has the NIL journey been for the D2 and D3 athletes? Because I'm starting to see a lot more of them being able to be granted some of these opportunities to get NIL deals.
Yeah, that's where the personal brand comes in, right? Like if you have a strong personal brand, it doesn't matter where you go. At the end of the day, NIL has nothing to do with your school. I mean, it does, but like technically it doesn't. It stands for name, image, and likeness, and it doesn't mean university name. So like as you can see, athletes entering the transfer portal, they're still transferring with all of their NIL deals and dollars. So,
I like it. Hey, well, I appreciate you joining me today. I want to open the floor to allow you to ask me any questions or if you happen to have any.
Yeah, man, I guess I could ask you, where do you see the NIL space going in the next 2 to 3, 4, 5 years?
I see the NIL space being obviously just going to get much more regulated. I feel like they're going to put some type of soft cap. It could be for a various number of reasons, but I would like to see them put a soft cap simply because I want more of the athletes who aren't getting a lot of the money to be able to get more money, right? So I feel like that's one of the regulations that I do see coming down the line for the reasons that I said, maybe not, but I do feel like they'll put some type of cap on it. Because I mean, I want to say it was Deion Sanders who said this. I can't really remember, but he said, how do you think it's going to be when there's a player on the team that's making more money than a coach? Right. Like, obviously, if you are more mature as an individual, you will know that it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's a level of wisdom and understanding. But for someone who might not be as mature, right, they're going to think, well, I make more money than you, so why do I have to listen to you? Right. And then that kind of deteriorates a lot of what NIL was originally placed there for, and just to kind of deteriorate the whole college athletics, which I hopefully don't want to see. But
that I do understand it more from the perspective of creating opportunities for elsewhere for everybody else. But we'll see how that's taken. I mean, for me, I'm one who doesn't mind changing and adapting to things. So I don't think any of the upcoming regulations are going to affect us in a negative way. It might just cause 1 or 2 adjustments, but
I like it. Hey, well, thank you once again, Peter, for joining. For the people who don't already know, can you just go ahead and let them know where to find you at?
Yes, sir. And I'm on LinkedIn, Peter Iwuh, and then my Instagram, I believe, is by my name. It's only the number 1 Gucci P, and tap in, say what's up. Follow us on Tykoon Sports as well. TYKOON Sports. That's the URL for our website, and then the username for our Instagram as well. So check us out.
Thank you for joining, and thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow my guy Peter. And then go ahead and like and subscribe to this video. Leave some comments on some things that you might want to see next. And let's go.